Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslimah. I'm your host Zara Pedersen, and in today's episode we are going to talk about a very popular topic: patience, sabr, the one thing that just keeps smacking us in the face throughout dunya, specifically when we are lacking it. Everybody else seems to be having so much of it, or they seem to constantly just remind us of that one thing, and we're just like, gosh, this is so hard. But definitely something that for us is so important to cultivate and understand how to call in when we need to have more patience, kind of like with gratitude. But in this case, patience can be a little bit more difficult for a lot of people to cultivate and have patience, because when we find ourselves in moments of struggle or something that feels like, oh, we're being pushed from every direction and whatever, it can be more difficult for us to find that patience. So this is a very important topic for a lot of us, and today I'm going to share my number one tip, piece of advice, whatever you want to call it, on how to cultivate patience and how to do it from a place of minimal effort. I'm going to try and say it this way: minimal effort, still effort. There's always effort. Nothing is going to come that easy to any one of us, but from a place of minimal effort that I've certainly experienced has been minimal effort for me, and made it much easier for me to have patience even when it's difficult, or like when I'm finding myself in positions where maybe it's not the easiest to come by. Okay, before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you very much to all of you for being very patient with me in the last week. I did take a little break from posting here on the podcast, creating new episodes. I felt for a little time coming up to last week that I was feeling quite tired, a little burnt out, perhaps, but not like fully burnt out or anything yet, but just kind of getting to that space. And for a little while, I certainly shared with the girls in the membership group, that at some point maybe I need to sort of like take a little bit of a break because I'm feeling quite tired now. And I didn't do that. So what happened? My body forced me to shut down. So my body said, you know what, I'm going to make you sick. I'm going to make you sick. So you're forced to take a rest. And so even though I was only sick for about 2 days and over a weekend, so not anything that was going to sort of like hinder me from, showing up on the Monday and posting filming and uploading a podcast episode, I took that as my sign to say, you know what, maybe this is my body trying to tell me in a very subtle way or not so subtle, that I need to just take a little break. So I listened to my body, and I didn't give any warning to any of you that I was going to take a little bit of a break. But it just kind of worked out that way. The Thursday before, I'd actually filmed a podcast episode, and then it turned out that I'd already spoken on that subject, which again for me was just another sort of confirmation of like, your brain is tired, Zara, like you're tired, take that step back. So you've actually, or like I've actually, and we have actually missed out on missed out on 3 episodes in the last sort of week and a half. Alhamdulillah, that's all I can say. Alhamdulillah, because it is how it was always meant to be. I can't change things in that way. Allah clearly wanted me to take that step back, and I did. And alhamdulillah, maybe it also encouraged you to go back into the archives. I mean, I've got like practically 150 episodes, I think maybe 150 episodes with this episode today. So it's not that there's a lack of content out there from me. So I'm hoping that it gave you a moment or a chance to go back into the archive, listen to some old episodes, oldies but goldies, and maybe there was one that you were like, oh, I said to myself I was going to come back and re-listen to this, or I was going to come back and have a little bit more of a think on this subject or whatever. So I hope you had a moment like that, you had a chance to do that in the last sort of like 10 days where I haven't been uploading. But inshallah, I'll be back now on a more regular basis again. But I'll always reserve the right to look after myself first. So if I do end up sort of like, if I do end up, I bumped the microphone. So if you heard that, that was me kind of giving you a little fly kick. Is that what you call it? Anyway, now I'm rambling. But yeah, I do reserve the right to, if I need to, take that step back. I am a one-woman band, meaning I'm the one who has to do everything myself. And I love that. Alhamdulillah, I couldn't be more happy and grateful for that. But it also means that I'm also the one who has to tell myself to take a step back and rest. And I'm not very good at that. Not very good at that. So yes. Okay. Rambled on long enough. Let's get into the subject today. This subject, sabr, sabr. Oh my goodness, sabr. Sabr, subhanallah. If Allah wanted to make something difficult for us, this is certainly the one place he said to himself, that is the one thing I want people to struggle with. And especially in today's age where there's so much instant gratification. There's, you want something, you can get it. You want a new house, practically you can buy it online without even we're exaggerating, of course, but like there are definitely things where it's like, okay, I want a new wardrobe, go online, buy it, it'll be here tomorrow. You can fast track it. You want to watch a movie, go on Netflix. You want to work out right now, there's a 24-hour gym. You want somebody to tell you you're beautiful, upload a selfie onto Instagram. There is so many, I can't even actually think of a single place necessarily right now, and you might be screaming it at me, where this idea of instant gratification doesn't actually exist. Well, no, I can think of one, and that is obviously heaven. We want to get the reward of this dunya. We want to get the reward of our struggles, our lessons, the things that we've done well and whatever. And that is like the ultimate gratification, inshallah, for all of us in the hereafter. And even when we pass, when we die in this dunya, we're still not necessarily getting straight to heaven, because we have to wait for judgment day. So we will be in the barzakh for a while, right? And we don't know how long we're going to be there for. So maybe that's the only place that I can sort of think of, that's the only place where there's not that idea of instant gratification. And everywhere else you can kind of find some way to kind of get that same thing or the feeling or whatever. So patience is one of those skills that is slowly dying in a lot of ways. It's not dying in the sense that it's going to stop existing, or like that it's not going to be required, but it's slowly dying as for us as people, because the majority of our life is based on this idea of instant gratification. If I want something, I can get it. I will find somebody who's selling it to me. I can find somebody who can explain it to me. I can find somebody who can come and give it to me. I can find somebody, there's always a service, a business, anything, something out there, something online that'll give you that sense of achievement in the same way, whether it be fully or just partially as well. Even something as marriage and companionship, you can go online and you can start talking to men on dating apps, and even that will give a small, dopamine hit of oh, I am desirable, and look, I'm flirting, or somebody wants me and we're talking, and so I'm, instead of laying alone at night before I go to sleep in my loneliness, I'm messaging with this person. So it's still kind of filling in contemporarily, at least, at the very least, if not that it then becomes a marriage or something. But so even in that sense, a lot of the places that we in the past would have had a lot of patience or required a lot of patience, it just doesn't exist in that same way anymore. Which means that for a lot of us, we're not learning how to cultivate it. We're not learning how to have sabr. We're not learning the art of patience. We're not learning the reward of patience either. We're not learning how good it can actually feel to be patient with something, because I think a lot of us, we think of patience and we think of it almost as, in a lot of ways, the way that I've certainly, and I'm going to speak for myself and my experiences working as a coach for Muslim women for quite a few years at this point, many years, over 10 years, is that it can feel like a punishment for a lot of people. It feels the way that, and whether or not we're sort of aware of it consciously, or if it's sort of like a subconscious thing and it comes out that way, when I speak to a lot of women around patience, the way that they speak about it makes it sound like a punishment. That patience is a punishment. Now think about that, because you might be one of those women who fall into the trap of either speaking about patience as a punishment, or that you actually feel that having patience is a type of punishment. And some of you have pretty much all but said it in those specific words, that, you know, patience, like, it feels like, oh, why me? And like the whole idea is basically, I'm being punished. Why can I not just have that thing right now, right? Why can't Allah just give it to me? He can just, you know, say be and it is. So why isn't it, you know? And so your whole idea around patience is, I'm being punished. I'm being punished. Allah is punishing me. I'm not doing good enough. I haven't done good so far. Allah doesn't want me to have this thing or whatever, or be in this state or whatever. And your whole mindset around patience and having sabr is that it is a punishment. And that in and of itself can change a lot of things for you in your mindset if you start to really wonder about this and question yourself about your mindset and your idea around what it means to be patient, what sabr actually is, okay, and how you think about it and how you treat it, how your body treats it. So if somebody comes to you and says, you say, oh, this thing hasn't happened yet, and I really want it to happen or whatever. And then somebody says, it'll come, just be patient. And if you feel in your body that immediately, it almost feels like there's like a rush of anxiety or stress, or maybe it's like tightening up, or, you know, maybe you even get angry, you get frustrated that somebody would even say patience. That is a really good indication for you that your thinking around patience is linked to being punished, or something negative rather than something beautiful, something wonderful. Okay, because the thing about patience is that it is something wonderful. There is blessings, rewards within it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that to us many times throughout the Quran, that there's reward in those who are patient with whatever they're going through. So if you're patient, Allah will reward you even more, you know, than what he would otherwise have rewarded you. So there can be reward, but then there is reward, you know, like, wow, reward, if you're also patient before that reward comes, right? So we know that it's a beautiful thing because Allah, number one, because Allah created it. Number two, because Allah wants us to have it. Allah wants us to have patience. Allah wants good for us, right? So we know that if Allah wants good for us and he wants us to be patient, it must mean that patience is good for us. So it's nothing but beauty in patience. There's nothing but beauty in patience. There's nothing but good in patience. We're the ones who are making it a difficult thing for ourselves, partly because of the way that society is around us today, but also because we are not taking the time to understand what it means to be patient. Now, if you're in my membership group, which, by the way, if you're not, and you've been thinking about it, join us. We have the most wonderful conversations in the membership group. An example would be around patience, because one thing that I will say and have said for a very long time and over again in the membership meetings is that a lot of people look at sabr or patience and they think of it as an inactive thing. Like, it just means that I'll just sit down and wait. I'm in the waiting room. You know, what do you do when you're at the doctor's in the waiting room? You don't start cooking a meal. You don't do all these things. You sit down and you wait until somebody calls your name. And a lot of people think of patience in that same way, that I have to sit and wait. Sit and wait, right? But the thing is that sitting and waiting is inactive, whereas patience is active. Patience is a very active activity or skill. Being patient in Islam is not that you just sit and wait, that you do nothing until something else comes along. It's very active. You still continue to make moves. You still continue to do things because the sabr in this case is very, very active. You don't stop everything because you're waiting for something to come along. That's not how sabr works. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people, when they think about sabr, think of it that way, because they think, I have to be patient. Okay, so I'll sit down and I'll wait for something to happen, or I'll wait until this wall that feels like it's in front of me breaks down, and then I can go through, or I'll wait till I get married and then I'll do that, or I'll wait till I get the money, then I'll do that. But that's not the case. Sabr in this case, in an Islamic sense, is a very active state of being, which brings me now, 15 minutes into this episode, brings me now to the thing that is sort of like my advice or my tip to how to be patient. And that is very much to be present in the moments that you're living in. Be in the now, live through the thing, enjoy the things that you're going through, even if they're not ideal. Even when something feels less than ideal for you, still be in that moment. Find ways to enjoy the times that you're currently in. Okay, you would like more money because you're struggling financially to pay certain things off and stuff. I get that it can be difficult or feel difficult for you to find pleasure in those things, but find a way to still live in that moment. Learn what you need to learn. Pick up the lessons that Allah is trying to put down for you. Work on cultivating your money mindset. Learn to focus on how do I budget properly so that when the money does arrive, which inshallah it will, then I know how to take care of it. What's my first priority to pay? What's my second priority? What can I do with my budget right now? Very active sabr. That is active sabr. That is, instead of just sitting around and saying, well, I don't have it and I can't do anything until the money comes, so I'm just going to sit here and like kind of be miserable in what I'm going through. I'm going to take the moment that I'm currently in and what I'm going through, what I'm experiencing, and I'm going to try to, I don't really know, for lack of better terms, make the best of it. Right. And it's not make the best of it, because not all situations are to be made the best of in that sense. But again, for lack of better terms, make the best of it. What can I learn? What is Allah trying to teach me? What am I not seeing that Allah has been trying to show me? So taking that moment to reflect, to learn, to be, to experience, instead of what most of us tend to do when we're going through something that is quite difficult for us or less than ideal for us, which is we resist. We resist. And when we resist, what do? We turn our blind eye to everything that Allah is trying to teach us in that moment, right? So what we do is we say, I ignore what Allah is trying to tell me because it's uncomfortable. I don't want to know. I just want to focus on when the money comes. I just want, where is the money? Where's the money? And then at the same time, Allah is trying to teach you, you're really bad with how you're spending your money. You're really bad at appreciating every time I've given you a lot of money. You've not had respect for yourself when you have money. You've not had respect for others when you have money. You're neglecting certain duties when I've been giving you money. Do you see what I mean? But because when we go into that resistance, we turn a blind eye, and then we become sort of like so focused, and it's so narrow, that focus, that we're blinded. We don't see what Allah is trying to teach us. And that is what happens when we lose that patience, because we're just like, I just want to get to that point again. I just want to get to that place again where the money's just there again. Instead of saying, Allah put me in this situation for a reason. I'm in this position for a reason. And while it's uncomfortable for me, while I don't like this situation, while, this is something that I wouldn't want anybody to be in my situation, He put me here for a reason. There is no such thing as happen chance with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His plan. Everything is for a reason. So instead of resisting it and being impatient about getting to that next place, it becomes a question of saying, why would Allah put me in this situation? Let me take a step back and reflect and learn so that I can get with more ease to that next place that Allah wants to put me in, and not just get there with more ease, but get there with a mindset and an understanding and tawakkul and gratitude for what Allah has done for me. And it is for me, even if you're going through poverty right now, or something that can feel like poverty or can feel adjacent to poverty. So do you see what I'm trying to put down here? I hope you understand the message that I'm trying to say. Like, live in the moment. Stop trying to resist it. But again, I get it. This is a very it's for a lot of us, when we're experiencing something that can feel displeasing to us, we get into this fight or flight. And for a lot of people, it becomes fight, so we try to fight it. And what is fighting is resistance. And flight is again the same. You're just trying to run away from your situation. That could be by, saying, oh, that's another thing. So I'm just going to keep taking on loans. I'm going to borrow money. I'm going to keep spending money on stupid stuff so people don't know that I'm going through financial difficulty or whatever, right? And And sometimes it's a question of just accept that you're there, and live it. Oh my goodness, to live it. I don't know how else to say it. Live in what you're going through, even if it's difficult. Live it, experience it. You're there for a reason. Allah put you there for a reason. It is not by chance. Please, if you take anything from today, and it be one thing, take this away from today's episode. Live whatever it is Allah is putting you through. Experience it, learn from it, and then have patience through it. Zucchini! Sorry, I can see through the camera that my cat is taking his water bowl out, and he has this thing where he wants to play with water, and then so he'll make a little mess of it on the floor. Well, anyway, those of you who are watching it on YouTube get the pleasure of watching Zucchini potentially drop the water bowl behind me. I don't know if he's going to do it or if he's going to behave. Who knows? Allahu a'lam. Alhamdulillah, it's easy to clean up though at the end of the day. Okay, so yes, coming back, I want to give you another example, because I do understand that for a lot of you, you already know, I've said it so many times before, for a lot of you, your impatience arrives because you want to get married and you haven't met somebody yet. Right. And I can understand that there can be a lot of impatience, because when, number one, we're being conditioned from a very early age to want or have the desire for a partner. And feel like that is that thing for us. We have to have somebody in our lives and whatever. And so it can be very difficult for us because it's been for so many years, and we're not counting necessarily like, oh, I've been single for 5 years because, you know, I only just like turned 18 or something. You know, we're thinking of it like, I have been single for 23 years, even though like at the age of 5, 10, 11, 12, 15, you weren't looking for a partner necessarily. You know, we're thinking of it like, I've spent my whole life single. So when we're getting, you know, older, like even myself, you know, I'm 38 now. I just had to think about that. I'm 38 now. I wouldn't think like, oh, you know, I've been single for, well, it's a little bit different with me because I'm divorced. So I look at it like I've been single now for 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. I can't really remember when I got divorced anymore. Alhamdulillah. But I look at probably 2 years. I don't know. The point is, so I'm looking at it that way, but I'm not thinking like, oh, I've been single for 2 years and like alone for 2 years. I'm thinking of it like, I haven't even like really started putting myself out there. So I'm only, if anything, starting to be single now, right? That's how we should look at it. Like, oh, now I'm actively looking for someone. So really that's the time that I'm sort of like in that moment of like, okay, I'm actually searching for someone. Anyway, that was a little, I digress. So let me come back on to the point. So what will happen is, because we're looking at it, number one, from like this, oh, I've been single for 25 years, 30 years, 35 years, 40 years, 45 years, whatever it might be. We're looking at it as like, oh, I've been patient for all of these years, when in reality, you've probably spent only a fraction of that time actually in search for a partner, you know. So number one, mindset, right? Mindset does play a huge role, right? You have not been searching since you were a child. So put it into like an actual perspective that is helpful to you, okay? That's the first thing. Because it does change a lot of the ways that we experience things. When we're looking at it and say, oh, I've been single for 30, when will I find my person? That sounds like an eternity. It sounds like forever for us, right? Instead of saying, oh, but I wasn't actually looking when I was studying, and then I was actually traveling around and I wasn't even looking then. I might have been available to it, but I wasn't actually looking for someone and whatever, you know. Anyway, the second thing is, because we have and this, by the way, it's not right and it's not wrong. It's quite a neutral. You can make it however you want to make it, right? But we combine being single, when we're looking for a partner, mind you, or looking for marriage, we combine it with loneliness. I'm alone. Why am I alone? Right? I'm lonely. And listen, sometimes you can feel lonely, but like, you're not in a state of loneliness all the time. There's moments where you feel that loneliness knocking on your door. And then there are other times when you're with your girlfriends, you're outside, you're at work, you're with your friends and whatever, family. And then there's not that loneliness necessarily knocking on your door, but still we combine it with those two. And so when we're feeling that sense of loneliness, it can be so difficult again to like experience patience and have that skill of patience, and like, I will wait whenever it comes. And especially when we feel like there's no prospect. I'm not talking to anybody right now. Where's this person going to come from? I hardly leave my house. I go to work, I come home. Like, I don't have a life outside of that, or whatever it is. And so we start like narrowing in, and we start looking at it from a place of, you know, our logic, which is very, very narrow and very limited. And so we start sort of like, again, resisting the state that we're in, to the point of where only one thing can make us happy, and that is marriage right now. So even this, the thought of dating and meeting men, you know, is like, oh, but every time I meet someone, you see, stop. You have to meet someone. It's not every time I meet someone. Go out and date. It's okay. You need to meet people to eventually get to the right person. But do you see the mindset of it? Like, oh, every time I meet somebody, but if I like them, they don't like me. And I don't even know where to go. I don't like the apps anymore. You've energetically closed yourself off so much by resisting the state that you're in, to the point where you have resisted yourself into a corner. You have pushed yourself and forced yourself into a corner where it becomes even more difficult for you just to find the patience to be and to experience A, being single, B, and I'll come back to that in a second, B, dating, meeting people, and C, connecting, you know, enjoying the process of it as well. Now, I'm going to say something, and I know this can be kind of annoying for some people to hear, is I wasn't looking for marriage when necessarily looking for marriage when I got married. I think it was like maybe like for 1 month or 2 months where I sort of was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So I always speak of it also like I manifested it, but I manifested my marriage from a wrong position. I'll talk about that. That'll be a good episode. Maybe Monday next week, inshallah. That will be a good episode because I manifested a marriage, but it was the wrong marriage. Hence, I'm divorced today. And we didn't have a particularly good marriage, right? But what was I going to say with this? Anyway, yes. So when I got married, because I never really thought of it in like, I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about marriage or being single or like anything to this effect. Like, I didn't spend a lot of time there. I noticed there were so many things that I suddenly couldn't do in the same way because now I was married, and it made me miss or like feel like, oh, I took a little bit for granted that I was single. And that actually happens to a lot of women when they get married. The same with women when they have children is, or I suppose also for men, but obviously like I'm speaking to you ladies. So, you know, think about all the things that are really precious about being single and enjoy them. Live these moments. There's so much joy and blessings and reward and lessons and growth that can happen when you're single that can't be experienced in the same way when you are married, right? That is how you live that single life. That is how you live into the thing that Allah is giving you instead of resisting it. Enjoy what can be enjoyed from being single, from still searching. And this is where I say again, like dating, connecting with people. I know that for a lot of people, they're like, oh, where do I meet them? Everywhere. The amount of stories, and I know you've heard them. I know you've heard the amount of stories where like, oh, they were just waiting for the bus. Oh, they ran into each other at the supermarket. Oh, this girlfriend that they've known for a long time, they didn't even think that their brother's friend could potentially be, you know, a love interest or whatever. Like it comes from anywhere. And that's the reality of it, because Allah doesn't. He doesn't work in this limited capacity that a lot of us do, right? Or all of us do. So he can come from anywhere, from absolutely anywhere. I've said it before. I said in a TikTok once, and some people really like took it and they ran with it. But like some of you are like, but I never leave the house. You could have, you could literally have a plumbing issue and call a plumber, and there's your husband knocking on your door. You know, that could be a thing. An electric problem. There could be a Deliveroo. Like it could be. I don't care. But the point is that Allah is not limited by our limitations. He will make things happen. Even if you don't have a plumbing issue, or you're never ordering from Deliveroo or whatever, somebody knocks on your door by mistake. You know, you take the rubbish outside the house and you've got yourself a new neighbor, and there he is. Allahu Alam, it can come from anywhere. And I'm smiling when I'm saying this, and I hope you can hear it if you're not watching on YouTube, but I'm smiling so widely because it's the wonder and the magic of Allah, the miracle work of Allah, of making things happen in ways that we don't even understand. So to paint ourselves in a corner by resisting the situation is not serving you. It's not serving you. But being patient, living in that moment, finding joy in what you're currently going through, even if you are working towards something else and you're desiring something else or something more, opening your eyes and your mindset up to the fact that at any moment now, Allah can introduce something to me that is so wonderful and from completely out of nowhere. I would have never seen it coming. That it sort of like, it makes every day again exciting for you, and it creates that level of patience of like, oh, I know when Allah brings it, it's going to be amazing, right? It creates that level of patience from a place of enjoyment rather than from a place of I have to, like a force. Nothing is fun when we're forcing it upon ourselves. It becomes fun when we're also enjoying the process of it, right? When we're seeing the gifts of it, when we're seeing the rewards of it, when we get to experience the joy of it. So experience the joy of being single. Experience the joy of, I could literally at any moment meet my future husband. I could literally at any moment meet somebody who knows my future husband. I get to dress up and do these things, prepare myself, do things with, in my own time while I'm alone that I won't be able to do when I'm sharing a bedroom with my husband. I don't know, whatever it might be. Live it, enjoy it, stop resisting it. The moment you stop resisting it and start enjoying it, you'll find that the thing that you want will come with ease. You know why? Number one, because you're not trying to rush it to be. You're not trying to force it. Number two, you start loving Allah more again instead of resenting Allah for like not giving you the thing that you think you should have had a long time ago. And number three, you find yourself being patient in a way that feels aligned, that is fun, rather than from a place, again, from force, where we feel like, I don't even want to do this. But it becomes fun to have patience because the patience is combined with tawakkul. There's enjoyment and trust within that patience. And that makes it so much easier to have patience. Okay, my darling, I have been rambling on. Today was a long one. Alhamdulillah, I feel like there was a lot to say. Inshallah, next week, I'm going to take a little note right here, right now, because otherwise I'm gonna forget it. You know how my brain works. It doesn't. Next week, manifesting wrong marriage. There you go. Oh, for those of you who didn't see, that wasn't actually a toot. I blew a raspberry. Or, you can believe it's a toot. I'm also okay with that. Maybe that's more interesting, more fun. I tooted. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Manifesting Muslim, the podcast. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your concerns. Those of you who messaged me in the last week, I'm like, hey, are you okay? I always appreciate it so much to hear from all of you. Feel free to subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with someone that you think might benefit from hearing what I had to share today. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I haven't checked how many subscribers I have right now, but I'm still trying to get to 500. So I haven't reached the goal yet. So if you haven't done it, please, 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 every single one subscriber really helps me out a lot. And it would make me very, 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 very happy. All right, my darling, that is all I have for you today. Inshallah, I will see you in Thursday's episode. But until then, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.